Hey everyone, very good morning. So I hope you learned from the fundamentals of funding that was broadcasted last week, where we objectively verified whether your startup needs funding or not based on certain parameters. If you haven't yet checked that video, go to youtube.com/Rajeev YSR and do check that video. And in this webinar today, we're going to learn what are all the different kinds of funding that are available. While most of us only think about equity as a fundraising thing, people understand the government of India and from certain state governments and certain incubators where your company is eligible for certain grants which you definitely need not pay. And of course, not many of these startup founders even contemplate or think upon the debt funding. Debt funding is basically is where you don't really have to liquidate or you don't really have to share your equity with investors, but all you need is get the money that is required for your company to run and always pay it back in terms of interest and principal together. So in this particular session, we are going to understand all of these in detail, the different kinds of funding. All the very best. Happy learning. Now, assume that you have decided that you have to go for funding, right? I should have asked this question before opening up this particular slide. But all kinds of fundings you name by whatsoever the name that you wanted to name them, your all fundings will fall into these three categories: equities, debts, and grant. Correct? Or any other category that you are aware. Correct? The exhaustive thing, if you look at all of these things, is this is the category of the funding. Now, before you decide upon which one to raise, I know most of you understand, but let us quickly differentiate what each one stands for and which one is preferred. Okay, let us go one by one. So, first thing, grants are generally either by the non-profit organizations or the governments. This is basically by either G or governments. Now, debt funding are generally, this is the debt, okay, this is grant, this is debt, this is equity, and that is grant. Now, debt fundings are generally by financiers, marketers, friends, colleagues, etc. And equity, when equity comes into picture, this is where your angel investors, your venture capitalist firms come into picture, right? So, for a grant, the nature is you don't have to pay anything. There are certain programs which the government runs, especially under MIT, where just because you registered that program and you cleared that program, you will get 5 lakhs to 10 lakhs as a grant. No questions asked, because the government thinks that you need that money to grow or to do whatever is required. So always best thing to go for is check in your industry and in your problem solving if you have grants. Especially if you're solving a problem in primary sector, that is agriculture, food, etc., or into secondary or into pharma, health, etc. There are a lot many grants available in the country in India right now. That is basically your friend or your father, your mother, somebody who kind of, or even a financial institute, right? Even a term loan or any kind of a loan that you take, they don't really care about what exactly you do. What they are only what they only care about is, are you giving them the nice interest payments, right? Nice interest payment. These guys don't worry about it. Now, when it comes to equity, equity is where people will spend more time, because what actually they're doing is they are not expecting you to either repay the money, they are not expecting you either giving them a better interest. What they're expecting is, their expectation is that you will multiply the money that was put in. Getting it right? How will the multiplication happen? Simple. Your business at this point of time, let us say your business at this point of time is 1 lakh rupees, example. Now, let us say each share value, let us say you have around 100 shares or 100 shares. Yeah. So how much is each share? Roughly 1,000 rupees. 1,000 is each share. I'm going to explain this with an example later also. Now, I took 10% of your business at this point of time. I gave in some money and took 10% of your business ownership. So that means out of your 1 lakh ownership, what is my ownership value? Quickly, guys. Out of your 1 lakh ownership, I've given you money and I've taken 10% of ownership. What's my ownership value? Quickly. 10,000. Perfect. Now, If I'm a debt guy, I would say, yeah, bank may anyway doesn't give more than 7-8%. You at least try to give me some 15 to 20% of interest. That is what my ask would be as a debt guy. But as an equity guy, what I will look at is, okay, in this 1 lakh value, mine is a 10,000 share example. Now, what I will ask you is, man, when will you make this 1 lakh 10 crores? This 1 lakh has to become 10 crores. Now, when this 1 lakh as a valuation becomes 10 crores, how many times did it grow? Example, anyway, how many times did it grow? 1 lakh to 10 crores, 10 lakhs, 100 lakhs, 1000 lakhs, 3 times, right? I mean, correct? You're here with me? 1000 times it grew. Now, your valuation at this point of time, how much you are able to build? You are able to build 10 crores. Now, what will be 10%? What will be my ownership out of this 10 crores? Quick. I know these are simple things, but I want you to quickly, actively engage here.
1 crore.
Yeah, 1 CR. This is the kind of expectation an equity investor will have. He will enter young, 10,000 value, 10%. But he's looking if this 10,000 will become 1 CR, right? Understand this. Understand debt guys ka interest, understand grant guys ka interest, understand the equity curve. Now again, I'm not saying who is good, who is bad here. This is for you to understand. That is the reason you see your banks and your governments, they will not involve into your day-to-day operations, or they will not involve into your decision making. They will not give you strategy, mentorship, etc. But this equity guy, he's interested in your operations. He's interested how you're making money, from where you're making money, how much money you're going to make, who else are the other investors that you're bringing in. Why? Because he's looking at multiplication of his wealth, right? So it is, now tell me, is equity good or bad? Or oh, no, let me not ask that question. Let me ask this question. Which of these three is preferred funding? All of you are at an early stage. So let us take that you're all at an early stage. Which of these three is preferred way of funding? What is your priority one? Perfect. Grants, right? No liabilities. This should definitely be one. And especially when you're growing, you don't need crores and crores of rupees, right? You need few 10, 15, 20 lakhs to ensure that you have whatever basic testing needs, etc., are met. Okay, that is number one. What is the second thing that you want? What is the second order? What is the second order? Do you go for debt or do you go for equity? Come on, guys. Tricky questions, right? Of course, it is ought to be. Okay, perfect. So at this point of time, I leave the decision to you. See, for example, if you are somebody who doesn't like interference of investors, who doesn't like interference of somebody to influence your decisions, you are there to build the product in the way that you want, you have decided upon it and you want to do it, then for you, do not go for equity at all, because you will have hell, let me tell you. Your every decision will be kind of, I would not say they will nullify, they will scrutinize, they will get into details, they will deliberate with you, etc. So if you're somebody saying that, no, I want to build it my way, highway kind of a thing, that is the right thing for you. But if you are somebody who is more to take inputs, I want more mentors, I need more inputs, I want to understand what's happening in the market, because these venture capitalist guys or angel investor guys, they are always on a lookout in the market, what's happening. I want to tap to their knowledge. I want to connect with them. I want to validate my ideas with them. I'm building something, but wherever I miss clarity, I really want to do it. I do not mind making him a profit owner. I do not mind making him my firm's owner, because along with money, he is also bringing value. People, those who are thinking like that, go for equity. Are you here with me, guys? Did it give you a clarity on which kind of funding you need to take based on your psyche? Guys, this is very important. When you go for funding, as much as your business model and your startup plays a role, the startup or a founder's psyche also plays a similar role, right? So please do not ignore anything. Be watchful. Again, there is no right psyche, and there is no right emotion and wrong emotion. Emotion is there. Now, watch your emotion carefully and understand which kind of a person that you are into. Accordingly, you move. Are you here with me?